Well, I'm sure your gardens and lawns and anything that requires water is well aware of the fact that we're, what, 28 days, 29 days without any measurable rainfall?
Something like that. I just remember Bob Trahy saying we haven't had any since last month. October has been dry.
Yes, it has.
Dry.
Yep, that's why we've had that burn ban in place,
Yeah.
and my garden is dead, well past dead.
I'm sorry. And if I had a garden, it would be dead.
Yeah, she's beyond the grave. So we'll next spring we'll try to revitalize that. But I mean, this has been a near record-breaking year with this drought that we're dealing with. But it is important to keep you up to date with all this information. That's why our field correspondent Spencer Tober is talking with the one and only Paul Williams to keep us up to date on what's going on with this drought. Spence, what's up?
Leah, I'm so sorry to hear about your garden, but I know you're not the only one. If you check this one out here, you can see just how dry everything is. It's crazy. The other day I was driving and I drove through a dust cloud. We're out here, we're not looking for storm clouds, we're looking for dust clouds here in Delaware. And to tell us more about this historic drought, we have CoastTV's chief meteorologist, Paul. Hey, thank you so much for having us on the show again.
The dust came up when I shook your hand. That's how dusty and dry it is right now, right?
Yes, so tell us more about the gravity of the situation here.
Okay, so first of all, we are only a couple of days away from tying the all-time record of 34 straight days of no measurable precipitation. Now, that means we usually take our measurements at Georgetown, so that's our official place. So Georgetown or anywhere around there, we have yet to have any kind of rain. So let's take this for example, okay? For example, you see how these leaves are dying like this? This is just malnutrition from just no water. And this moisture right here, this is supposed to be that moist kind of dark soil that you would have, you know, that you see Martha Stewart usually digging her fingers in and all that type of stuff. Okay, this is not just dry, the topsoil is dry. And you see how it just blows away with the slightest wind. There is no density to the moisture that's happening right now. So the moisture content has been drastically bad. So there's several things that have happened here. First of all, we have a drought that's affecting the folks that are the farmers. They desperately need it. You have guys that are growing apples and pumpkins and trees. Christmas trees are being affected.
I know, thinking into the next season, you know, the crops that are growing now are just being devastated.
And they are underdeveloping, okay? And because they're underdeveloped, here's a residual effect. Because the rain hasn't been here for so long and the produce is underdeveloping, that means that the produce that will be available in the next cycle is less. So basic economics, higher demand, smaller supply, prices go all the way up. And I know you called me for meteorological stuff, but you know, I'm also a consumer. You know,
right.
So all of this plays a role. And now there's medical problems that's happening with it. Folks, yeah, I knew you didn't know that's why I thought I'd bring it up. People that have chronic breathing problems, bronchitis, asthma, and those who have allergies.
Okay.
This allergy season has gone longer. You understand what I'm saying? Because not only are we getting dry weather, but we're getting historically high temperatures at the same time. So it's drier because of the lack of moisture, and it's drier because of the higher temperatures. And the dew point temperature, which is a measurement of moisture content in the atmosphere, it's drastically low too. And unfortunately, and I don't want to leave on a bad note, but I got to be factual here.
I know. I got to ask you, when are we going to see rain again?
When are we going to see rain, right? As of Halloween, we will break the record. And unfortunately, I don't see any rain on Halloween or several days after. And I'll update you on the latest coming up at 5 o'clock, but the same thing has been just happening. And to be honest, if it weren't for the election being such a big story, this would be the biggest story in Delaware.
Well, thank you so much for sharing some insight. Sure. And we're going to be tuning in over on Coast TV News with you. Paul, always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure.